Alright, the project you're about to see is something that I spent a few months working on, trying to figure out how I wanted to redesign some cabinetry we use for our entertainment system, receiver, Xbox, record player, all that stuff. I realized after the fact I probably should have taken some video of the old um, shelf that I made. It was about probably 6 or 7 years ago. When I pulled everything out and brought it out the garage to get rid of it, I had to kind of laugh because there was no joinery on there besides just pocket holes. Everything was pocket holed together, and I look back at where I started and where I'm at now, and I think there's a bit of a difference. I do have some still photographs that I will put up so that you can see what's going on, and I'll show you the end result with everything put together here in a couple minutes. But this project really stretched me. It was a little more involved than I expected. I have at least 50 hours in it, probably closer to 60. I've got nearly 20 hours of recorded time on this, and I used some techniques that I've never used before, that I've seen on videos with other woodworkers, and also with some techniques that I've learned with the furniture making class that I'm taking right now. So it's definitely a big difference, and it is hugely different as far as the overall look in our living room. I still have one more shelf to build, which is going to be a similar style, and I hope to have that built here within a couple weeks or so. My wife and I are going out of town for a few days, so that's going to delay getting things done, but I should be able to actually start working that within about a week. And we'll get that put together, and it's going to be very similar to what I just got done putting together. I'm going to do this a little bit differently as well. This is a two-part video. First part is going to be showing the joinery, how I put it together, a lot of the dry fitting, and then the second part is going to be the process of finishing, doing the final assembly, and getting it ready to be put in the living room. So I hope you enjoy the video, and let me know what you think. If you can help like and share what I'm doing, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to get my channel going and see if we can hit 1,000 subscriptions this year. It would be absolutely wonderful if we can do that. I'm trying not to feel like I'm begging for likes and shares and views, but any help that I can get would be greatly appreciated. I also do have a Patreon page up if you would like to be able to contribute to what I'm doing, just as a way to help out. And all the donations and subscriptions through there will include ad-free videos. I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to get all these reduced down to the limits that Patreon has. I may end up having to just redo all of the videos to fit within their format. So we'll see what happens, but I am working on getting that up and ready as well, so that there's a benefit for everybody with Patreon. I appreciate your time watching my videos, and here we go. I'm working with ash for this project. It's one that I've used for some things, but haven't had a lot of experience with it, and I've learned that it's a really nice wood to work with, and I really enjoy working with it. All of the wood was run across the jointer and planed to a rough thickness at school. So now all I have to do is just cut it down to the rough length and get everything set to where I can be able to use it for the panels that I need to start gluing up.
With everything cut down, I still have one edge I need to clean up. So I'm just running it through the table saw with my planing sled and just getting a nice straight edge on both sides. Now we can start getting these cut down to width and start getting them ready for the glue up. And with the final pass through the planer to get to the final thickness, now we're ready to start going. And that little jump there, I'm not sure why, but I still keep getting static buildup on my dust collector hose, which at times can be a little bit shocking. And these pieces here are going to be for the corner pieces, which is going to be a little bit of a support, but more for accent and finishing. These are all being milled down to 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. Everything else has been milled down to 3/4 inch. And we have the first set of panels that I'm gluing up. I'm using clamps to hold them together, keeping them in place so they don't slide as easily, and just help maintain the joint on it so it stays even. This cabinet stands 30 inches high, 36 inches wide, and 16 inches deep. This required me to glue up 14 sets of panels so that I could be able to have all the pieces and sections I needed for the shelf. And now it's time to start getting the panels cut to width. The extra pieces that are being cut off of here will end up being glued back together for some of the additional panels, just so that I can save some money on materials. And now it's time to start working on the joinery. I want to do something different and push myself a little bit more with the design on this one. So I spent about 2 hours working on how I wanted the joinery to look. The bottom is a box joint that is spaced out so that's even all the way across the bottom. And then the through tenons are designed to actually meet the middle of the box joints on the bottom. And this took a little bit of time and required a lot of hand cutting and handwork to be able to get this set up. I could have set something up with my table saw and set the dado stack, but I felt I really didn't want to do that. So I'm doing this by hand and chiseling out everything for the joinery on the shelf. And this is a brand new set of chisels that I purchased. They are Japanese style, and I absolutely love the way they feel. And it was a lot of fun to work with. And here I'm just finishing cleaning up the joints, getting everything set. And obviously I've had to do this on both sides and notch out the bottom to accept the mating piece. And now for the first of what is, I think, going to become about a dozen dry fits. Testing each piece, testing its joint, making sure everything is nice and tight and sets in the way I want it to. I decided to use stop dados for all the shelves. I didn't want to have that exposed edge. And these are all set so that each dado also has a shoulder so that you don't see the actual dado on any of it. And you'll see me use a couple of different uh, methods of cutting in the dados. One where I'm just using my Bora guides, and one using a jig that I put together to make sure everything is lined up and accurate. And then I just have to clean up the corners with the chisel so that I have a nice, clean, even edge. I'm using a 1/2 inch Forstner bit to open up the mortises for the through tenon. That way I can just get it cleaned up and just have to use a chisel to get the final shape for the tenons. And here I'm just chiseling everything out, evening it up, and getting everything cleaned out. And here are all the mortises cut. I probably could have done this from the beginning and made it a lot quicker and easier, but I decided to use the router just to clean up the wood a little bit, clean up the handwork, and take care of some uneven spots that I had. I realized after the fact I should have done this the other way around. Instead of cutting everything for the tenons first, I should have gone and cut this down for the dado and then match the tenons after that. This just made it a little more difficult to get everything set for the dados. And here I realized I'm still a little bit tight on the tenons and didn't have everything cut quite right for the shoulders on the dado. And I was a little bit frustrated at this point because things didn't quite line up, but I later realized that I still needed to adjust the cut for the dados so it actually set in properly. And using my dado sled, I finished getting more of the dados cut so I can actually start putting this thing together for the first dry fit. With the base put together, now it's time to start getting those corner pieces cut. I left 1/4 of an inch on both ends so that I can be able to have the corner pieces wrap around each corner and more or less look like it's a solid leg that everything is attached to. In total, I have 7 legs that I need to cut. This part made me a little bit nervous. Obviously, I've taken the time to get everything notched out for the through tenons, the joinery for the bottom piece, and now I have to cut a 1/2 inch section out of this entire side to accommodate for how I'm attaching the shelf that will be on this side of the cabinet. With the scary part done, it's time to get the divider in, get it glued together, and make sure everything is lined up the way it needs to be. I should have changed the camera angle and position so you can see what I'm doing here. But I took that side panel that I cut and getting the trim piece or the divider put in place and glued together so that when the side shelf is attached to it, it looks like it's attached to another leg. And now it's time to do the final assembly before I take it all apart and get it ready to finish. I'm just making sure that everything lines up properly, all of my angles are correct, everything is square, and all of the side trim pieces fit the way they want to. The next video will pick it back up and we'll do the final assembly, finishing, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. But I appreciate you watching and hope to see you on the next one.